Hi, welcome to the Shelly Studio. Today I am playing with all my leftover scraps from the 100-day project. I decided I was going to use these up as much as I could and then throw the rest of these little bits of paper away. Okay, I didn't throw them all away, but anything smaller than 2.5 by 3.5, I did. Because it was just getting a little crazy with the little scraps of paper. So the idea here, the plan was to do like an accordion fold little long landscape in the style-ish of my 100 days. So I'm taking all the blue shades and they're all going on the top. That'll be the sky. And then I'll take the brown and the green shades and collage the bottom. So I am not tearing them. I'm not being fussy about it or too fussy about it. So there are some straight edges that's just going to have to be straight edges because some of these are really just too small to tear individually and get nice rough edges with. So that's what I decided to do. And I have two, I took I think it's a 12 by 14 sheet of mixed media paper and cut it in half lengthwise. Maybe it's bigger than, let's see. So 8 by, I don't know, 14? Maybe it was 8 by 12. I don't know. I don't have the original anymore, and I'm just looking at my completed project to see if I could tell how long. So I've got the sky done on one, and yeah, I'm going to glue that all down, and then I will glue stuff to the next one, and then we'll just kind of merge them together to make one really long accordion. Now the idea was to make an accordion book, but I don't think I'd leave it in. I go to fold them and there's just too much stuff, you know, with all the collaging and the paper I used. It was just too thick to make a nice, decent fold. I didn't like how it was working out. So I end up cutting them into 2 3/4 sections. So for the last section, ended up just slightly smaller for some reason. And I am using, I believe it's matte medium. It's by Golden. So the brown is supposed to look like mountains or land or just hills in the background. So there's the two, and now I'm just going to cleaning off one edge, and I'm going to have the other overlap onto it, trimming just one part of it so that I can get it nice and straight. And then once I glue that down, I'm going to just collage some more scraps on top of it just to make sure it holds. And I honestly am not quite sure where that ends up. I mean, it should be right near a divide from when I cut them, because I tried to cut them all nice and even. I can't even tell where that's at. Alright, so I've done both the front and the back, and now I'm just going to take my Stabilo and kind of darken the edges of the mountains a little bit. And this time I'm using the matte medium to activate the Stabilo, because that way it will be permanent. I won't have to worry about it. It won't rub or reactivate or mess up when I do something else to it. So yeah, I think this is the last project that has to do with the 100 days. If you're tired of it, sorry. I do have one more project. I am trying to put it into a book. I've got all of the 100 projects scanned. I just haven't taken the next step yet. And I'm doing the same, sort of the same thing with the grass, or the ground, to separate the ground from the mountains. Only this time I'm using Faber-Castell brush pen in a dark gray. And then I decided I would add a little bit of white behind the mountains just to make them stand out a little bit more. And I do this all the way across. Some areas don't need it as much as other areas, but I do the whole thing, both sides. But I don't think I make you watch both sides. Oh, and then I decided to take the blue Pitt brush pen, and since it's got matte medium on it, and if you rub right away, you can just kind of create a shading there. So I decided my landscapes needed a little bit more interest, and I also want them to be separated in segments, like the 3 1/4 inch segments, which was, 2 1/4, not 3 1/4, 2 3/4. I'll get there. Yeah, 2 3/4 segments. So I'm separating it by segments, and I'm putting little colored blobs on there and making them trees. And this time I'm using the Pitt in gray just to create the shadows. I'm using a ruler just to make sure I get each section, and I'm blocking it off with the paper just to make sure I don't go over. So even though it's continuous, I kind of wanted to make sure stuff ended up in each of the sections. And I got tired of tearing those little colored blobs out of my scraps. So I wanted to make sure there was enough in each section and I didn't run out. Trying to add a little bit of white just to help them stand out a little bit. And trying to help the land back there. Trying to remember where my next section is. And I used a fun variety of color, so we've got some pink trees. Maybe where they're sitting it's spring and they're blooming. I don't think I make you watch me do every single section, because that would be forever. But I think I put in one more before editing the rest out, or just stopped recording, I can't remember. Got a tall skinny tree there. I like how they look against the black, or the dark brown. I think it's dark brown. I don't know if you can hear the kids outside playing. Alright, so that is done. I decided, because I didn't worry about the cohesiveness of the blue, I'm just doing kind of a whitewash. So really watered down white paint. Just going over it just to make it look a little bit more cohesive. And here I decided that I needed more elements besides just trees. And so I'm looking at my 100 days for inspiration. So I put that little road in there. And I decided to put the little silo in. I think I added a little waterfall to one. Oh, and this one had birds in the sky, so I decided to add some birds in the sky randomly around. Blotting them with a piece of paper. That one has a railroad crossing sign, so I tried to put the symbol for a street sign, but it's really small. So small, it's just like little black lines. I'm trying to follow what I'm doing with the actual piece, but I'm moving too fast. I did speed this up like super fast, so hopefully it won't be too boring. Oh yeah, I put some little figures in one of them. It's the same one as the waterfall. I can't even tell. Like, it's so small in my little editing screen that I can hardly see. I think I might be putting in the sailboat right there. I'm not sure. Oh, that's one that inspired me to put little people in. So here's the little person. Somebody sitting down and somebody standing. Oh yeah. And I'm going to add a lighthouse. I picked a spot that looked like it might be water. Could pass for water. And just going to stick a little lighthouse by it. I'll do a couple of close-up photos of my favorite details. And also there's a flip through of the completed accordion book at the end of this. So if you want, you can just skip to the end. But if you're still here watching, thank you for watching. I appreciate it. If you like what you're seeing, please hit like or leave me a comment. Appreciate the thumbs up. If you didn't see my 100-day projects and are interested in those, there is a playlist I will put in the description box below. Of course, you're kind of seeing a flip through of them up there as I'm picking elements out. Yeah, that one has a little kind of tent, so I'm going to add that here somewhere. Do you call those canopies? Where it's just the top creates shade. Alright, so the creation process is done. I had tried to fold it. You can kind of see it's a little wavy in places. I didn't fold the whole thing, but I did fold a little bit. Decided I did not like that. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut them apart and then link them together in a different way. So they could be like little pieces of art on their own, but I am going to connect them all. And I do have to go through it. It's quite thick, so it's best to just go over it lightly until you get all the way through and not push hard. And I have to keep learning that myself. If you push hard, you can tend to go off crooked and not keep it straight. So I figured you don't need to see me do all of them. So here they are, all cut. And I put them back in order. Oh yes, I forgot that I did this. So I want to make the edges look nice. So I just brayered out some blue paint. And I'm just dipping the edges into the blue paint. And I like the way that worked out. And now I've got to get them back in order because I got them out of order. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my crocodile, is that what it's called? Crocodile. I don't know. My hole maker. So I'm measuring them. I did measure, but they're not 100% accurate. But they're close. And I'm just doing them about 1/4 of an inch away from the edge. Far enough to be safe and not tear through. Not that they would, it's pretty thick. And then taking my grommets. Those are grommets, right? Rivets, grommets. And reinforcing the holes. Probably didn't need that, but I like it. I like the way it looked. So I do that on the top and bottom of every card. And there are 2, 4, 6, 8. There are 8 cards. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my, I have some cotton warp thread, that's what it's called, and I'm going to weave that through all the holes, and I'm going to have it loop on one side and tie on the other. Now something you don't see me do is once I get it all arranged, threaded through, snug to where it all lays flat, I take a little touch of glue and put it on the thread near the holes on every single spot. That way it won't keep sliding around. Because if you just do it like this, it's going to slip and slide and move around on you. But as I have it now, it's pretty secure. That glue could come off, but I mean, it would probably tear something if I tried to force it to come off. So I do it so that the holes are even. Like they come out of one, they go into the next card. So one side has all the strings, the other side has just the connections between. Hopefully that makes sense. I'm not very good at instructions. Hopefully the visual is better. Yeah. So I go around behind, I come out, then I go back down into the next card, and then come out and back into the next card. That will keep them from crossing. Once I hit them with a little bit of glue, it'll work. So here I want to make both sides the same length, and I just snug them all up to each other. I think I always knew I was going to have to add some glue to keep it steady in place, but you can see if I don't, it gets all messed up. So here it is, all glued up, so they're not going anywhere, and it just makes a fun little accordion. And here I'm flipping through it. I will, like I said, there'll be some close-ups at the end of a few of my favorites. I hope you liked that. Thank you all for watching. Have an awesome day.